Welcome along, football passers. As always, plenty to discuss. Let's start, shall we, with the newly crowned champions of Scotland, who, of course, are back on European duty this week. Steven Gerrard's Rangers up against Slavia Prague. Still, I'm sure, the talk of Glasgow and, indeed, a wider audience. Let me bring in a man who knows full well what it's like to succeed north and south of the border. Alex McLeish joins us once again on Football Pass. Welcome along, Alec. Are you still basking in Sunday's heroics, or do you take the long view?
Yeah, well, listen, I think we have to take the short view at this moment because it's a long time for Rangers. They've come through a lot. Stevie Gerrard's first managerial job, it's kind of history in the making. It's probably one of the most significant titles ever.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, because it's his first. Rangers had waited so long, denying Celtic the 10 in a row. It couldn't have come, I don't suppose, at a better time for everybody in blue and a worse time for everybody in green.
Yeah, absolutely right, Matt. I guess Rangers were focused on the positive the whole season up to now with trying to go for the 55th title rather than thinking, right, we've got to stop 10 in a row. But it seems that when a team gets within 10 in a row, they implode a little bit. It happened to Rangers a few years ago, so I'm not mocking Celtic in any way, but that seems to be the case after that 9 in a row. Nobody seems to get past that one. But let's hope Rangers can go on and strengthen further and do well in the European competition. The Prague. I think the Prague lads are, being sensational this season. Not only the team, the club team, but the country seems to have taken a little bit of a surge. You think of the two guys at West Ham who are playing extremely well and look like top players.
No, indeed, and obviously the Czech Republic on Scotland's horizon in the summer. So one to watch. But listen, one or two, and a person we both know pretty well, who often appears with me on BT Sport, have slightly, I wouldn't say undermined Steven Gerrard's achievement, but have kind of put the caveat in that, well, he's had a lot longer than many would have done. He's been backed. He's had the patience of the Rangers board. It feels a little bit unkind. Do you think he's done a terrific job, or has he had a charitable run, Steven, at Ibrox?
No, I think he's done a good building job, and it's probably one of the hardest jobs to do. When you go in there, you've inherited maybe a team that needs to be improved, so therefore your recruitment has to be spot on. I mean, it took Jurgen Klopp 3 years, to get the Van Dijks and all these guys in, and look where they are now. Look where they are. The last couple of seasons, winning the Champions League and winning the league for the first time in 30 years or something. So, the recruitment is key, and Steven has gradually built it up. And so you have to give the Rangers directors credit for being patient, give them the time, because it's not often that old firm clubs are patient, when you don't win trophies. But I think, understandably, this was a building job. Rangers weren't on a level playing field financially wise the first few years. And, Stevie, I think the fact that he's added a couple of strikers this season, it's helped significantly because, Morelos was the go-to guy for goals before. And things when, Defoe's, let's face it, he's nearing the end of his career, still a phenomenal finisher. But when these guys were missing, Steven had to turn to midfield players and play them up front. Scott Arfield, for instance, now bringing Ruth and Nixon in has gave them a new dimension. The guys haven't blown us out of the water, apart from Ruth's European goal from the halfway line a few months ago.
Yeah.
They have eased the pressure on Morelos and Jermaine Defoe and as a whole Rangers. So well done on the recruitment.
Yeah.
It took Stevie took them 3 years to do that, Matt, and that's why you have to credit the Rangers fans for getting right behind them, and also, and not least, the directors.
With that in mind, then, how hard do you think the next step is? Because to be competitive, let's say in a Champions League group stage, were they to get that far next season, the recruitment would have to be better, wouldn't it? And you're then talking about a different level of budget, I guess.
Yeah, that's a massive step up to the Champions League. We seen in Brendan Rodgers, Brendan, marvellous coach, doing wonders in England also, very highly thought of manager, coach, and Brendan had awful results in the Champions League, big defeats, and that tells you the difference, the gulf between the two competitions, and the need to recruit even more. Now, Rangers don't have the power financially to compete with the top Champions League club, but they will have a good go anyway. But you would think that they would be underdogs once they get to the Champions League level next year. But the performances these last 2 seasons in Europe have been pretty sensational.
Sounds like you're ruling out Haaland and Mbappe just for the moment at Ibrox. But listen, is there a risk? Yeah. Is there a risk with a good Slavia Prague side who obviously knocked out Leicester in the last round, and as you say, Czech football on the front foot? Is there a risk when you win a title that, not complacency, but the inevitable sense of release, you can lose a bit of edge? Because the Europa League there's not many to fear in this competition for Rangers the way they've played this season, but you just worry that the players could just tip over.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, the both Prague teams have done very well this season, and as I said, they also the country. But yes, this can be a moment when everybody's judging Rangers and saying, okay, let's see if they've been celebrated too much, they get complacent. But Gerrard, a winning type of guy, and him and Gary McAllister both been at Anfield, and they know what it means for the fans of the clubs for them to be winning these games. And so I don't see any taking the foot off the pedal by the manager and his backroom staff, and he's got to drive the players to believe in that as well.
Yeah, I suppose the beauty on the other side is that he can pick and choose his teams. Now, I know he's got an Old Firm game in just less than 2 weeks, but he can pick and choose and try and peak as far as he goes in the Europa League for these games. There's not a lot else to worry about at this stage, is there? That he can rest and manage his players to be right for any European game that comes up.
Yeah, that's the facts now, that the Premier League title has been wrapped up, and he can rest key players, guys who have maybe, I don't know, they call it the red zone, when you speak to the sports science, you don't want players to get into the red zone because then they start to risk an injury. So now he can gladly say, well, I won't take a risk in this one, I won't take a risk in that one in the Premier League, but I will have them all guns blazing for Europe.